the biggest tool is becoming aware and just looking inside and being like, okay, what is this true? And unfortunately for him, like, people just think that girls can't be the one that is like mean or rude or angry. They like, I guess sometimes people just think it's just guys that can be dicks. And I'm like, no, girls can be, we can be angry and we have our own stuff, you know? My biggest tip would be become aware and asking yourself, like, where is this coming from? I heard something recently, like, don't ask yourself why this is happening, because then you'll just tell yourself a story and we already know the story. Like, for example, why is this happening? Well, it's happening because I have childhood trauma from my dad always being hard on me, but that just keeps me in a loop and just keeps me believing the story.
Yep.
Instead of actually doing something about it. Well, how could you react better next time? Or how can you notice this trigger faster where you don't take it out on your boyfriend and you recognize it and stop that behavior pattern, thought, belief, whatever, quicker?
Well, I thank you for sharing that, because I think it sits people in the victim mentality, which is the worst place to be, because yes, as a child, we are a victim of these things. Abusive talk to a child, it's child abuse. It's a form of child abuse. It just is.
Right.
Anything less than loving is. And
Right.
so that's the hard part when we become an adult, especially with the intimacy you have to build in a trusting relationship to be able to trust the other person. And like you said, sounds like Brandon does it with couth and
Yeah.
compassion. And, he's not like, look here, bitch, it's like, he's just like, it's so important to shed that victim mentality. And I think once you can, our mind opens up to really hearing that other person. Like I shared before we started recording, sitting there working on the cell phone, daughter, girlfriend, they're talking in our room and I'm next to them. And then it's like still working. It's like, it wasn't a rude question. It wasn't a stop doing that. It was simply a polite question. And it was that reminder, because I've shared, help me be in the moment more, because I get obsessed with work and I let these moments pass that are fleeting quickly. Like you said, your daughter's 20. I got a 14-year-old son, a soon to be 13-year-old daughter. And it's like, how did I get here already?
Yeah, that's exactly it. That is exactly it. And having that person, I mean, I've learned so much with being in the relationship with him and how I react to people. It has taught me a lot, and then not freaking out on him.
I hope more of these conversations are happening around, because we really have to break that Hollywood mentality of how the relationship goes. And if there isn't a ton of friction and crazy passion and all these things, like, no, all that stuff's activating your nervous system. It's snorting people. It's no different than popping a pill, putting something up your nose, pounding 20 beers, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because I've had my own issues with, like, I'm a Leo, as are you. So I'm like a lover through and through. My boyfriend is not the most affectionate person. And forever, I always criticized him for that. And I made him feel bad for that, but like in ways that, like, you don't touch me, so then you must not like me, where he was not raised in a affectionate household. And that in turn, like, would mess with me, where now I have this awareness that not everybody grows up in this, like, I mean, I'm not saying we were always hugging, but clearly I'm affectionate. So my parents did something right to that regard. But did his parents do something wrong? Or maybe they weren't brought up giving hugs and stuff like that. I'm going on a tangent and I forgot my thought process here, but just realizing that we all come from different paths and we're all working with each other. And that not everything has to be movie and Hollywood related, or just being okay in a moment that doesn't have to be so grand. And that's where I sometimes struggle.